Hi, thank you for being interested in RC-11 that will be brought to APTA's House of Delegates next weekend. And thanks for taking the time to engage with some of the topics out there that our professional organization are working on. RC-11 at its core is really just a statement about how physical therapists can practice when their full scope of practice and training are used. I believe that if it is passed, it will immediately become a document that could be a tool for physical therapists or other advocates to push back on the barriers to practicing at the full scope and to the public being able to access those services. For instance, if you're a physical therapist working for an employer who does not allow you to see direct access patients, I believe this document advocates heavily for you. If you're working in your state to expand your scope of practice, if your jurisdiction has limitations on your scope of practice, I believe this statement will be a tool that you can use in your advocacy to push those barriers forward. For many of us, particularly those in states with really good practice acts, I think it describes how we are practicing already and that it's not bold at all. But for others, it will help to move those barriers. I think of a patient I had this winter. She had fallen and hurt her knee skiing a couple days before she saw me. And not coincidentally, she was Australian, and Australians very frequently use physical therapists as their entry point provider, particularly for their musculoskeletal care. So she had fallen, was hurt, and wanted to know whether she could go back skiing or not. And I pretty quickly diagnosed her with a lateral quad tendon tear and wanted to confirm it with an MRI, which I did, and then referred her to an orthopedic surgeon who confirmed that it was a non-surgical tear and we could continue forward rehabbing her knee conservatively, which I started, and then she went on back home to Australia and finished her rehab there successfully. So that case was really an aha moment in my mind of, oh, this is what people have been talking about. This is how a physical therapist practice at the very top of their scope. That a patient had an injury, came to me for help. I was able to diagnose it, order imaging, which was needed in this case, refer her to a surgical specialty to determine whether or not surgical care was needed. And then ultimately, she was able to rehab completely conservatively, primarily through exercise and manual therapy and education. I want to see more care like this in our profession that we are all capable of, but many of us have barriers where we work to operating like that. And I believe RC-11 will take some big steps in pushing our profession in that direction. So thank you again for your time to engage with this. I hope you'll continue the conversation here and elsewhere. Thanks. Bye.